Hi, we are Kill Me Bark here, and we travel full-time in our RV with our dog Kona. Today I'm going to tell you about working remotely from the RV, the pros and cons of it, and also what we spend on average the past 2 years living from our RV. If you haven't seen it already, our last video we dive into the past 2 years and our journey of transitioning into RV life, and we talk briefly about remote work, and today I'm going to spend more time talking about it. But if you haven't seen that video already, the link is in the description. Working remotely has a number of benefits, especially for those who want to travel. You can work from anywhere in the world, which means you can explore new places while still earning an income, and you're not tied to one location like we used to be in LA. You pack up and move wherever you want. Like right now, we're sitting lakeside while Kona is taking a dip, and it is gorgeous out. We don't feel like we're cooped up in an apartment. We feel like we can just move and go whenever we like, and basically go anywhere and everywhere. And it's pretty amazing. All right, let's dive into some of the perks of living and working remotely on the road. Flexibility, it's a huge one because we are not limited at all working remotely. Ryan's inside sitting at the dinette right now, and he woke up at 7, started his shift, and then got to go and make coffee and sit down at the dinette and work from there. And at 3:30 when he clocks out, we get to hit the road and go wherever we'd like, or we can stay here and not move at all. It's completely up to us, and the flexibility of that is everything to us, and we think it's really important. And if considering this lifestyle, we think it's a huge perk because we just feel like this life gives you limitless options, and that's really important. Next, we have cost savings. Living in an RV full-time and working from here has a lot of cost benefits. When we were living in LA, we spent a lot of money on rent, and honestly, I lived paycheck to paycheck and struggled month to month trying to make ends meet. And when we ended up switching to this lifestyle, we've been able to save for our future. And when we're ready, we can grow roots at a location and buy a home, and we'll have that savings built up. If we didn't live this lifestyle, I'm not sure if we ever would have been able to buy a house. So yes, not having rent or utilities is amazing, but when we're living in the RV, we kind of get to pick and choose when we want to spend money or when we don't. And for example, the past 2 weeks, we have just been boondocking, saving our money, not eating out, and really striving to have money left over when we're ready to quit this lifestyle. We never know when that's gonna be. Maybe one day we're just gonna be sick of it and we're like, all right, let's buy a house, and we'll be able to do that. We're really setting ourselves up for success by the end of this, but sometimes we wanna splurge. Sometimes we're in the mountains and we're in Aspen and we wanna go out to eat and we wanna pay for lodging and we wanna spoil ourselves. And it's just a little bit of balance, and since Ryan's so good with money and budgeting, we feel like we can just do both, and spoiling ourselves, we feel like it's well deserved. Adventure is a big one for us. Being able to go from location to location and just really go wherever our heart's desires is huge. Instead of being in one location and being limited to what's just in the local area, we get to just drive, see where we want to go, and just go for it. And that's just a huge thing, because otherwise we just have a fixed location where you just end up spending the same amount of money going to the same usual spots. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we like the sense of adventure and going on hikes that we find in the area, or riding the motorcycle and just getting lost and not really having anywhere in particular to go, and we're just in a new place, and it's really cool just getting lost on the road constantly. This is a big one and really important to me because this didn't exist before RV life. Work-life balance. Work-life balance in RV life is whatever you want it to be. If you're working a remote job that is all-consuming and taking up all your time, quit. Find a new job that's remote and make it work for what you want. We're not living in an RV to just sit inside of it all day. We're living in it so that we can explore after work. And right now we're very lucky. As I'm documenting this, this is a means of income for us, and Ryan is a payment analyst and he's working inside. And as soon as he's done, Kona's got the zoomies. Intermission. She's gonna come back. There she is again. Ryan's inside working as a payment analyst, and he makes good money doing that, and he enjoys it as well. It works great for our schedule and flexibility. What he did previously in accounting didn't really give him any of that, and it was terrible. And as you know from the previous video, he ended up quitting. And now he found this job that is perfect for us living on the road. An added benefit of living on the road full time with your significant other and pet is that you're always with them. And I talked about this in the last video too, but it's so important to me that I wanted to mention it again. Kona is our pride and joy, and we spend every waking moment with her, and we love that being able to work remotely means that we're always there for her. If she isn't feeling good, we're there for her. We can go to the nearest vet and get whatever she needs, or the store. Sometimes we've had to pick up Pumpkin because she has an upset stomach, and we know immediately if something's wrong, and we love being able to care for her and always be there for her. And on to the perks of living with your significant other in such a tiny space. Yes, there are perks. Ryan and I are as close as we could be because we spend so much time together in general. I mean, I don't remember the last time I didn't spend time with him. And that at first was pretty challenging, but now that we've lived in the RV together for so long, it doesn't really bother us. We've gotten used to always being in each other's space and getting used to all of the things of living together in such a tiny space. We've adapted and we've continued to do it. Next is reduced commute, which is basically non-existent unless you count going from our bed a couple feet over to our dinette and logging in each morning. We do not have a commute, and if you're debating this lifestyle and you sit in traffic like I used to in LA, and it was just terrible, it ruins your mood, you're spending so much money on gas, and you just feel like there's no end to it, remote work is for you. You can find it. I'll go into different roles and suggestions that we have, but it is such an amazing perk. We did think of it before transitioning to this life and how we just get to wake up and go to work and we don't have to sit in traffic to and from, and the nice added benefit of not having to commute to work. I saved my favorite pro for last, and that is when we're traveling to new locations, we are making new friends all over the country. And that's super fun because we stay connected even on Instagram. And sometimes, you know, with this being our third winter we're going into, we're going to be going to the same places and we get to reach out to them and meet them on the mountain again. And that's just an incredible experience. We have all of our hometown friends, but we also have our friends from on the road. All right, now that I've explained some of the pros of RV life, which there are quite a few, I'm going to tell you about the cons and be honest and realistic for you so that you understand what you're getting yourself into if you are considering this lifestyle. Traveling to a new location is super exciting and a lot of fun, and especially if you're like me where you go on TikTok and you look at the coolest things that are going on in the area and you go and do them and get to experience it firsthand what it's like to be a part of that community. But being honest, it's pretty difficult to go from location to location without being distracted. And if you're thinking about working remotely, you got to know yourself and if you're capable of working remotely. You have to be able to manage your tasks wisely all on your own. You have to rely completely on yourself, and it's pretty challenging, but if you're capable of doing that, I would recommend this life, but you got to know your personality and if it's something that's right for you. All right, let's talk about the upgrades that we've had to make while living in the RV to be able to work efficiently remotely. We originally got the RV with a Wii Boost, and to be honest, it's not our favorite thing. We struggle with it because you actually have to have your phone right up against it to actually gain bars. And it isn't really sustainable for both of us needing to work and having our heads and phones and laptops right against the Wii Boost. It just isn't quite what we thought it was going to be, and it isn't really what it's all cracked up to be either. I wouldn't recommend it really to anyone unless you want to move it up to the front of the rig and you don't have any service and you can put the Wii Boost directly next to your phone just to get maps to get somewhere until you have service again. Other upgrades that we have made to be capable of working remotely is we did have RV IT guy Wi-Fi, and we tried that for a while and it was pretty reliable, but then Starlink came out and of course we had to jump on that bandwagon, and we waited a bit, and it was I think $700 up front to get the dish and the proper equipment to us. And yes, that's a huge upfront cost, but it is completely worth it because we are limitless. I mean, damn near limitless, because we have loved it. We've only ranted and raved about how great Starlink is in the RV. We've really had no problems, besides the fact that if you're in a campground and you're trying to work from it and there is too much tree coverage, then you're a bit limited and you got to get you got to get creative. I've seen people put a flagpole on the back of their RV and put the Starlink on the top of it and shoot it up towards the sky closer to above the trees so that they are able to work amongst the trees. But for us, we just check out a little bit beforehand on camping apps and reviews and photos to make sure that we aren't going to have this issue while we're at a campground or boondocking in a location. In some instances, we have had to leave or move, but we don't think it's that big of an inconvenience when our service is so great and we both can be on a Zoom call and it doesn't affect the service at all. It's really, really amazing. We really, truly recommend it to everybody. We would recommend Starlink to you guys as well. It is important to mention that Starlink does pull a good amount of power, so make sure to be mindful of that when you're planning your solar setup and keeping Starlink in mind so that you're able to power it for your work day. So if you work a similar shift to us, about 8 hours a day, you need to take that into account when you're planning your solar and your whole entire system so that you can have the reliable internet that you would like, but you have to have the power for that. Unforeseen circumstances are the biggest troubles of living in an RV, and it's kind of like life though in general. You never know what's going to be thrown at you, and it's really just about how you handle it and how you get through it and persevere and learn from it so that you can do better next time. We have mechanical issues while living in our RV, and when those things arise, we don't have a home anymore because we're dropping it off at the shop, right? And sometimes that is when the shops are open between 7 and 5 p.m. And of course, we're working, so we have to move out of our home, take all of our work equipment, and find somewhere else to work from for the day. We do try to plan and schedule out the RV maintenance, but there are times when it is unpredictable and something has happened and we didn't know that it was gonna have to be in the shop, which is okay. We are flexible. After 2 years of living in here, we have adapted and adjusted. So when these instances arise, we do the best we can. We pack up Kona's stuff and we either just work from the auto shop if that is fine with them and it's not too noisy or disruptive, or if we don't really have any meetings that day. Really all we need is an outlet, a place to stay, and then if they allow Kona inside, most importantly, obviously we have to bring her with us. And it's fine. We just hang out inside there all day. We're super flexible, and if you're considering this lifestyle, you got to be flexible and be ready to handle any situation the RV is going to throw at you. For instance, we were living on the road and we were in Oregon and we found this really cool boondocking spot, but we drove over a lava rock and it popped one of our dualies, and we were like, okay, it's after 5, there's nothing gonna be open, we're in our home, we're in a parking spot, it's safe, okay, whatever, we'll just stay here and we'll deal with this in the morning. So the next morning I had a tow truck come up and they took off our blown tire, and unbeknownst to us, they uncovered that the lava rock not only popped that tire but damaged the other dually tire. We had to get 2 tires replaced because it was too dangerous to travel with one tire damaged. And we could have been upset, we could have given up, we could have done all these different things, but instead we were like, okay, how are we going to handle this situation? What is the course of action? This is the cards that we have been dealt for the day, and we have the experience now to understand that this is the situation and we just gotta go through it and have a positive mindset and handle it the best we can. And the guy was kind enough to jack up the RV, and he was able to give us a tire to hop over to his shop. And then we got to the shop and it wasn't too far away, and he replaced the tires there. But I'm just telling you the story because things do happen, and it's okay that they happen. You just got to be ready to handle them and do the best you can in the given situation and learn from it, like I said before. A con you might not think about when considering RV life or full-time travel in general is that it's difficult to make friends while you're living on the road. And I did say it was a pro that we meet cool people. apply in, and you have some friends that are rooting for you and supporting you and have given you suggestions to help find that specific role for you working remotely, then you need to be clear about what you're looking for. Don't be afraid to apply for positions outside your comfort zone. That's a big one. Tailor your resume and cover letter to the role that you're applying for, and follow up after your interview. That's an important one. They really want to hear. That's an important one because you'll stand out against the crowd. All right, now I'm going to list off some roles that we think would be great for working remotely. Just to name a few, you could be a freelance writer, a transcriber, a social media, working for social media, a virtual assistant, web developer, graphic designer, copywriter, business consultant, and even a personal trainer. Now, the last one is a specific niche of a role because it's an RV technician. Now that I've told you a couple of jobs and roles that you could look into yourself when you're first looking at getting a remote job, I'm going to tell you how much on average the past 2 years we spend while living on the road full-time in our RV with our dog Kona. We spend on average about $3,000 per month, and sometimes it's significantly higher and significantly lower, but on average it's about $3,000. And we feel like that's a perfect amount of money to be spending on our travels, our food, our gas, everything that it takes to live inside of an RV and taking care of Kona. And we're fine with that amount, and that's what we think works for us. But before you hit the road, figure out what your necessities are, create a budget and a plan, and you can make that as low or as high as you would like. We just think it's really important to relay to you to create a budget and a plan. If you want to save more per month, great. Set aside that extra money and you can do it. We just chose that if we're going to be living this life, we want to live this life for the experiences and then also the added benefit of saving money at the end, and which we're able to do, and we live comfortably and happily. We feel like that just works for us. You find what works for you, and if you feel like that's spending significantly less per month, that is great. And we just think it's important that you plan and you think ahead of what you want and what works for you. And I hope this was helpful. I hope that you're able to figure out what your dream full-time travel looks like. And if you have any questions, please drop them below. We'll get to them, I promise. If you could take the extra second, as usual, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we also would really appreciate it if you could follow the link in our description on Patreon and help us in any way you can. We appreciate it. And we'll be back again next Sunday with a brand new episode.